Welcome back to WonderBlade. This is the Oscillating Multi-Tool Showdown, where we're going to test out the best oscillating multi-tools and put them through a series of tests that will test out its durability, strength, and performance. Kicking off this showdown, we have our top 7 contenders for the best oscillating multi-tool. Starting off in no particular order or fashion, the Avid Power Oscillating Multi-Tool. This one's pretty compact. This one weighs in at 1 pound, 14 ounces, and is 9.5 inches long. Next up, we have the Dremel MM35. This one is corded, which could weigh a little less without the cord, coming in at 2 pounds, 10 ounces, and just 10 inches long. Next up, we have this popular Ryobi ONE HP brushless oscillating multi-tool, coming in at 1 pound, 15 ounces, and is 12 inches long. That is, of course, without the battery. Next up, we have the Makita 18 volt. This one is slightly heavier than the other ones, weighing in at 3 pounds, 9 ounces, and is 12 inches long. Hopefully the extra weight could deliver more power. We'll see later in this video. Next up, we have the DeWalt XR 20 volt brushless oscillating multi-tool, coming in at 2 pounds, 4 ounces, and is 11 inches long. Next up, we have this popular and known for its performance. This one is the Milwaukee Fuel M18 oscillating multi-tool, coming in at 11.5 inches long. That's without the battery, of course, and 2 pounds, 9 ounces. Now, to end this contender series with the 7 oscillating multi-tools, we have this one, Excited Work, coming in at 1 pound and 14 ounces and is just 12 inches long. Let's begin cutting. But firstly, which oscillating multi-tool is the best one to attach blades to? The winner of that test is the DeWalt XR 20 volt brushless multi-tool. This one only took just about 4 seconds, 3 to 4 seconds to put on the blade. And that's very fast. Compared to the worst performing one was the Makita 18 volt, which took around 31 seconds, mainly because right after pulling down the latch, taking out this adapter, you really got to get a good grip on it before you could put the blade on. And then once you get a good grip on it, then you put it back and then put the latch back on. But that's really what takes the longest time. Got to get a good grip on it. If you don't, it'll take a while. That's why it was 31 seconds in this example. The second to last worst performing one was the Dremel MM35 for putting on the blade, which took 24 seconds. But this one in particular, what made it a little bit difficult was that you have to have an adapter when you have a universal fit blade. Usually, most multi-tools, you don't need an adapter, but with the Dremel MM35, you need the adapter if you're using a universal fit blade. On to qualifying rounds of this oscillating multi-tool showdown, starting off with a wood piece of 2x4. Now all the multi-tools came in at just around the same time, coming in at around just about over a minute. However, the least performing of them all was the Avid Power multi-tool. This one came in a little bit, it took a little longer than all the other multi-tools in this test. However, the best performing one was the Milwaukee M18 Fuel, cutting it in a little bit over half the time than the other multi-tools. Now, coming in next test is Hardy Trim. This is a fiber cement material, which is a lot harder to cut than regular wood. I mean, it's fiber cement. It is a very tough material. However, all the multi-tools in this test, in this showdown, came in at around just about over a minute. However, the Milwaukee Fuel M18 did that same exact cut in just over, actually a little bit over half the time as well, with the two least performing ones being the Avid Power Oscillating Multi-Tool and the Ryobi ONE HP. They both cut it at about the same exact time, but the Ryobi ONE HP is better than the Avid Power for this hardy trim fiber cement cutting test, because the Ryobi ONE HP, the grip is just better. As you can see, Ryobi, they really designed this tool for better grip. The rubber on it just feels amazing whenever you're gripping it. That's not exactly the case with the Avid Power Multi-Tool. And another problem is that the exhaust is on here at the ends of the handle. That could be an issue if you got dirty hands, or you got stuff in your hands, or you got water. And imagine putting that in the exhaust. That could really have an effect on the longevity of this tool. And the longevity of this tool can be questionable, especially for that aspect specifically, but they both did cut hardy trim in about the same time. One thing I did notice about the Ryobi ONE HP brushless tool is that it does tend to vibrate a little bit more than the other multi-tools. That's just what was noticed in this showdown. However, for the next test is PVC pipe, with all of them cutting it at around 5-6 seconds. With the best performing one was the Milwaukee Fuel M18, cutting the PVC pipe in just 2 or 3 seconds. I mean, this tool is amazing for cutting abilities and performance. However, the least performing one of them in this test was the Avid Power Multi-Tool. It was the longest one to cut through PVC pipe. However, one thing about the DeWalt XR 20 volt brushless multi-tool is that you can stop and go. Now, before moving on to the next series of tests, what tools do you think are the winners of this showdown? List your questions, comments, concerns, or your experiences with these tools down below in the comment section. And don't forget to like and subscribe to WonderBlade if you haven't already, and hit the bell icon so you're notified of the next showdown. Now, for our next qualifying rounds, we have just 5 oscillating multi-tools in this showdown. The 2 of them that have been ousted was the Avid Power Oscillating Multi-Tool and the Excited Work. They just didn't live up to the expectations of the other tools, mainly because of cutting performance, and then also a little bit of handling as well. However, the next test is through hip and ridge roofing shingles. This is part of it. With the best performing one of them all was the Milwaukee Fuel M18. It cut through the hip and ridge roofing shingle like a hot knife through butter. It really cut it very well. Second in line, second to best, was the DeWalt XR 20 volt. This one cut through it like butter as well. The Makita 18 volt also cut it very well, the hip and ridge roofing shingle. However, one downside to this tool is that, number one, it does weigh in at around just about over 3 pounds. The other multi-tools weigh in at just 2 pounds. But mind you, this is over 50% of the weight of the other multi-tools, and it just feels a lot heavier. And the 3 pounds, that's without the battery. And another thing as well about the Makita 18 volt, it does not have a light. So that could be an issue if you're working in a dark space or in a small area. All the other multi-tools, they do have a light on it, as you can see. The Milwaukee Fuel M18 has a pretty big light, as you can see. And another thing too is the Dremel MM35 also does not have a light, as you can see. Now onto this unique test, which is cutting through drip edge drip metal. Now this test is gonna see which tool can not just deliver power, because a lot of multi-tools, in order for it to cut, you really got to apply a lot of pressure, but this test specifically is going to test out its accuracy. Can it cut through a pretty hard material accurately without it gibbering too much, which was exactly what was happening with some multi-tools in this test. With the Milwaukee 18 volt, it just didn't really cut through it. You had to apply a lot of pressure in order to cut through it, which is quite dangerous in this test. We don't recommend doing this at home. This is just for the sake of this showdown. The 2 winners of that test was the Milwaukee 18 Fuel and the DeWalt XR 20 volt. The Milwaukee Fuel M18 multi-tool really cut through it like butter. It cut through it seamlessly and accurately without too much wobbling and the drip edge going all over the place. And the DeWalt XR 20 volt, you could stop and go, and that's what also improves the accuracy, is that you could stop and go, twist and turn, go all over the place without damaging anything. It's very good for accuracy. So in terms of that test specifically, those two tools are the winner, and it has nothing to do with the blade itself. As a matter of fact, this blade was used, the same exact blade was used in this entire test with all the cutting. Any other tool blade would have been completely wrecked by the first test, which was siding coil nails. Any other tool blade would have been completely wrecked by that. This same tool blade was used for all the tools, which if you want this same exact blade, this blade has roofing on it, but all the teeth are still intact. If you want it, check it out in the link down below. But it has nothing to do with the blade as far as cutting abilities, but it has everything to do with the multi-tool for this specific cutting test. Now, because of that, these two tools are qualifying for the next round, which is concrete screws. Concrete screws are an extremely hard material. With the DeWalt XR 20 volt, actually it gave out right in the middle of cutting through the concrete screw. The battery just gave out, which is why the battery that comes with this tool in the bundle, you might want to get a bigger battery so that it doesn't give out. But besides that, it is a great tool. But the Milwaukee M18 Fuel finished the job of cutting through a few more concrete screws. So the two clear winners, and there's two, because number one, if you value performance over everything else, then the Milwaukee M18 Fuel is the clear winner of this multi-tool showdown. However, if you value something also that's good in terms of performance, but also its handling, its compatibility, its ability to attach blades in just 3 to 4 seconds, just slide your blade in, slide it out, and also it's stop and go. It also has a lock on it. You could just, and then push the trigger to release the lock, the latch on it for it to keep going. But just, it's an overall great tool. Its price point is also great, just a little bit over $100, but it's also the holidays, so that could change. And also with inflation and everything, prices could really change in terms of the oscillating multi-tools. The Milwaukee M18 Fuel is a little bit over double the price of this tool. That's without the battery, of course, so keep that in mind. This pricing is without the batteries. If you are gonna get oscillating multi-tool, make sure to get the batteries, or make sure if it comes with batteries, because usually that comes separate. So make sure to have your eye out for that as well. Now, in terms of our next showdown, stay subscribed to WonderBlade and hit the bell icon so you're notified of our next showdown, and list any comments, questions, or concerns that you've had in the past, or if you've had any experiences with any of these tools and you want us to review it, or you have any future video ideas, list them down below, and we'll see you in the next one.